Eighth graders, it's Mrs. Clear. I wanted to just share with you before you do your practice for the day. This would be your third remote day, your second week. If you're Group A, you'd be doing this Monday the 26th, Group B, Wednesday the 28th. And what you see right here is the practice that you'll do. It's solving equations with the parallel lines and the transversals. So you only have a couple of slides, but I wanted to kind of go over some things with you. Just a quick review before you do those things, okay? So I am going to switch screens here, so I'm going to try to pause you. I hope this works. I actually made that work. So what I just want to do, you don't have this piece of paper, I just want to do two examples with you really quickly to remind you of the process. Remember that you would be asked just to solve for x potentially, but afterwards you might be asked to take that value and plug it in to the expression and find out, well, what is the measure of that angle? So make sure you know what's being asked of you. When you're done solving for x, you may not be done answering the question. So first thing, remember, you're supposed to do is just identify, well, what pair of angles are provided to you. So this angle here, 6x, and this angle here, 5x plus 20. Well, what kind of angles are these? Well, they are both in the same corner. So these are corresponding angles. So I'm going to write that down, corresponding. And what do we know about corresponding? That's step one. Well, corresponding angles are congruent. And we can, look at that and say, yeah, they look like they would probably be congruent. The only reason I know that this relationship is true because of these two lines marking that those are parallel. So when the transversal intersects the parallel lines, the relationships that we have are either going to be congruent or supplementary, right? So if these are congruent, the equation I would set up is to say that this angle is the same as this angle, or 6x is the same as or equal to 5x plus 10. And if I start solving now for x by subtracting 5x from both sides, and we do want you to show your work on these guys so that we can address any problems that there might be as you're working. So I just solved for x at x equals 10. If I'm asked then to give the measure of these angles, I'm just going to do some substituting. Instead of x, I will substitute what the value of x is, which we just found to be 10, right? And then let's see if it's reasonable. So that would say that this was 60 or 60 degrees, okay? And 50 plus 10 is 60 degrees. And so they should be congruent, right? And yeah, I buy that they're about 60 degrees, less than 90. Okay, the second example that I want to do is this one. So remember, our first step is to identify, well, what is the relationship of these, what is the angle pair that we're looking at? These pairs of angles are on the left side of this transversal cutting through these parallel lines. They're both interior. This one appears to be obtuse and this one appears to be acute. So even just by looking at it, I'm going to assume that they're not congruent. But we can't make those assumptions. What if we had an 89-degree angle or 91? Does that mean it's not a right angle, right? You can't eyeball this. So what I have to remember is that when they're on the same side of the transversal and they're both interior like this, then they are same side interior angles. So that first question we had was identify the angle pairs. So same side interior. Now, sometimes you'll see that as consecutive, but we're going to call it same side interior. And what's the relationship between same side interior angles? Well, they are not congruent. They are supplementary. And supplementary, if you remember, just means that their sum is 180. So when I write that equation, one angle added to the other angle would add up to 180. So, well, one of my angles is x plus 109, and the other one is x plus 89. And before I solve equations, I simplify them. So I'm going to combine my like terms. 2x and 198. Yep. Okay. Now I'm going to solve by subtracting 198 from both sides. Again, when you're working on these slides in a little bit, I want you to be showing your work on another sheet of paper, right? Your teachers are going to be asking to see your work. So divide by 2, and I get x equals -9. So if all they asked was to solve for x, I'd be done. But if they asked me what are the measures of these two angles, I'm going to have to substitute that in there. So in this case, -9 here, -9 there, plus 109, and plus 89. And we don't want these to be the same, right? We want them to, however, add up to 180, and they do, right? So this angle is 80, this angle is 100, and together they're supplementary, adding up to 180 degrees. Okay, so that again is just a little precursor to the questions, some of the questions you'll be asked on your practice. Practice is obviously in Schoology, but Google Slides, you need to be signed into your Cherry Creek Google account to be able to access that. And don't forget to submit. If you're having any problems, make sure you touch base with your teachers, right? Either by email or even the TMS support line, okay? All right, good luck, guys.